Why can't I hear my audio? What's going on? Let's see here. What? Where is my audio? Okay, we are in business. It's working. Cool. Wait, is it working? Hold on. Something's wrong with my stream. No. Okay. There we go. Weird. Had to refresh the content there. Cool. It is lecture 25. We have today, we have next week, and we have the week after that. 3 lectures, and we're done. Smooth sailing, right? It's exciting stuff. We're doing 1 John chapter 3 today, but first, we're going to go over genitive. We're going to go over dative. And you're like, what? I already did that. Yeah, we're going to go over the practical uses and review the more advanced material out of... not Mounts, the Beyond the Basics of Biblical Greek by Daniel B. Wallace. And then, as we go through 1 John chapter 3, we will apply Wallace to the genitive, to the dative, and get some practice with it. So there you go. That's today's agenda. So exciting stuff. We are nearing the end. And if you're just now joining us for the first time, fortunately for you, all the videos are free. And they're available in the archives, so you can get caught up at your own leisure. Don't feel like you got to do it all overnight, because Rome was not built in a day. Or I guess since this is a Greek course, the Parthenon was not built in a day. Is it Parthenon? I think so. I could be wrong. Or is it the Pantheon? I don't remember. I'm not that smart. All right, so let's talk about the genitive. Mounts covers the genitive in pages 52 and 53. That's it. 2 pages. That's all you get. Wallace covers it from pages 72 through 136. That's 64 pages. There is a lot of uses to the genitive. Now, the primary use that we're so used to out of Mounts is of, right? Of this, of that. Helps show relationship, it helps show possession, but there's so much more to it than that. Now, there's 5 main categories. There's the adjectival, and it's exactly as it sounds, right? It's somehow modifying another noun. There's the ablative. It shows this idea of separation. Okay, out from or out of. There's the verbal genitive, which is related to a noun, but that noun must bear a verbal idea. Okay, so typically with nouns that come from the same root as a word that also has a verb, you could be dealing with a verbal genitive. There's the adverbial, where it's modifying a verb. There's required, where certain verbs require genitive to follow. Okay? So those are the 5 main categories. When it comes to the adjectival, there's several different ones. There's descriptive, possessive, partitive, and attributive. For descriptive, this is pretty much a last resort. Don't default to this one. Use this one when none of the other ones make sense. It's describing something else, okay? There's possessive, where it shows possession, belonging to, possessed by, where the genitive actually possesses the head noun, and not the other way around. There's the partitive, translated, which is part of. The genitive is the whole that the head noun is part of. So in the partitive genitive, think of it like the genitive is a circle. The head noun is in that circle, right? The attributive, this is a Semitic influence, where the genitive attributes to the head noun and bears a stronger force than a simple adjective, okay? So normally an adjective would match in case, number, and gender, right? But you can have an attributive genitive attached to a head noun, and that head noun might not be a genitive. It might be accusative. It might be nominative. Okay? You can have a simple adjective, right? Sinful life. Whereas the attributive genitive would be life of sin. Okay? So the simple adjective would probably be all in the nominative, right? The attributive genitive, you would have life, and then the genitive of sin. Okay? Still discussing the adjectival genitive, you can have a genitive in simple apposition. What happens is two nouns, both in the genitive, one comes after the other. Where the second genitive, is a different designation of the first. So in other words, it's saying the same thing with different words. They're practically synonyms describing the same thing or person, okay? Now, they may not be synonyms. They might be completely different things. So the same thing can apply even with words that aren't synonyms. Both genitives are describing the head noun. Now, in English, I typically separate them with a comma. Now, there's the genitive in simple apposition, and then there's the genitive of apposition. Genitive of apposition bears the idea of which is, who is. The genitive is the specific example of the head noun. But in this case, it's not a list of two or more. And so you're dealing with apposition when it makes best sense when you supply which is or who is, and it makes sense. So that's your test. In a lot of these, you're going to find Wallace has a test for a lot of these, and you're going to have to apply those tests and see if it works. Then there's the genitive of comparison, and this is part of the ablative. Ablative meaning separation. So it's used after a comparative adjective. So the example would be in X is greater than Y. The genitive would be Y. Okay? So after a comparative adjective, greater, lesser, something like that. Following than, you would probably have the genitive of comparison. Okay? And so that's for English. So in Greek, you're not going to have the word than. You're going to supply that because that's built into the genitive. Okay? So instead of supplying of, you would supply than. Now, there's a couple of verbal genitives you need to understand, and these are very important. there's the subjective genitive and there's the objective genitive. So the subjective genitive, this is when the genitive functions as the subject of the head noun. What happens is it takes the verbal noun, converts it to a verb, and takes the genitive and turns it into the subject. So look at this example in English. Revelation of Jesus. You take the verbal noun, revelation, convert it to a verb, reveals. Take the genitive, turn it into the subject, Jesus reveals. You can then translate it, Jesus's revelation. Look at the next example, faith of Christ. Faith is the same word for trust or belief in Greek. So, turn it into a verb, believes. Of Christ, turn that into the subject, Christ believes. So your translation ends up being Christ's faith. Or you could even say Christ's trust or Christ's belief. It's not possession. It's a verbal genitive showing the subjective genitive, okay? Now, compare that with the objective genitive. The objective genitive functions as the direct object of the head noun. The head noun must imply transitive verb. If it is intransitive, it cannot be objective genitive. What does transitive mean? I hit the ball. Hit is transitive. The action transitions to something. It is in transit. Okay? Now, if it's intransitive, that means it does not transition action to something. Okay? I am. That's a verb. It is intransitive. It doesn't make any action transition to a direct object. Okay? So the verb or the noun itself must imply a transitive verb. Now, you take the verbal noun, convert it to a verb. Same thing as the subjective genitive. And then you take the genitive and turn it into not the subject, but the direct object. So look at love of God. You take love, that becomes the verb, loves. Of God becomes the direct object, loves God. Blank loves God. And then what you do is, in this case, you would supply the word for. So the objective genitive translation becomes love for God. Okay? Now let's look at faith of Christ. We just saw this in the subjective genitive. Well, if you believe it's objective, your translation will change. Faith is the noun with a verb, intransitive verb. Belief in. So you make that the verb believes. Of Christ becomes the direct object. Believes Christ. So blank believes Christ. And then you end up translating it faith in Christ. Faith of Christ could be translated objectively, faith in Christ, or subjectively, faith, Christ's faith. How did I pronounce? Yeah, Christ's faith. I couldn't remember for a second. So it's either Christ's faith or faith in Christ. Objective versus subjective. And depending on the context, that's important. So that's what's at stake here is some of these fine nuances might really come into play in how you interpret something and how you translate something. And remember, all translation is interpretation. You can't separate the two because you, as the translator, must make choices that the person who doesn't know the language will not be privy to. They'll have no insight on the matter. and you are interpreting for them. All translation is interpretation. Keep that in mind. There's a responsibility here. Now, that was verbal. Let's talk adverbial. There's several uses. One is a genitive of time. This genitive is the kind of time, or the time within which the head noun takes place. It will replace of with during, at, within. There's the genitive absolute. Usually this is going to be a participial phrase in the genitive. Makes it really easy to distinguish and discern. There's the required genitive. This comes after verbs. Akuo is one of them. It comes after prepositions. Ek is one of them, right? So certain verbs and certain prepositions require the genitive to follow. Best thing to do is look up verbs in BDAG to make sure that it doesn't require a genitive following. So when you approach genitives, here's a practical approach. First, ask yourself, is this genitive related to a verb or to a noun? So if it's following, or if it appears to be related to the verb, ask yourself, what does BDAG say? Does it require a genitive? If so, you follow BDAG, it's a required genitive. If not, it's adverbial. Okay? So it might be time, might be something along those lines. Now, if it's not related to a verb, but it's related to a noun, then you still consult BDAG and you find out, okay, does this noun require genitive to follow? If yes, it's a required genitive. Follow BDAG. If no, then is the noun bearing a verbal idea? And is that verbal idea transitive? If yes, it's verbal. If no, it's bearing the idea of separation, maybe? That's your next question. So if it is bearing the idea of separation, now you know it's ablative. If it's not bearing the idea of separation, now you know it's adjectival. That's through simple process of elimination. But once you get to adjectival, now you need to figure out of the several different types of adjectival, which one is it from there? Keep using all of the tests that Wallace gives you to figure it out. What you're trying to figure out is what is the force of the genitive, how should it be translated, and what is the significance, if any. Okay? Don't just take them for granted. Words have meaning in relationship to each other, right? So don't take it for granted. Don't rush through it. Take your time. Read it several times. You might translate it several times. Think through it. You might consult various translations and commentaries and whatnot. But these are the things that the commentaries are going to draw out for you. What's the force? How should it be translated? What's the significance? So now let's talk about the dative. Mounts covers the dative in 2 pages, 53 and 54, just like he did with the genitive. Wallace spends a considerable amount of time on it. What is it, 35 pages? So not as much as the genitive, but there's still plenty to cover. There's a handful of uses of the dative. One is the pure dative. This is generally just built off of personal interest and reference or respect. So, for example, you might translate the dative with reference to, with respect to. And so structurally, that's pure dative. Another one is local dative. And this is really built off of position. Like sphere, for example. In the sphere of. There's the instrumental dative, which is generally built off of means. The means by which something is done. the instrument. And then there's the required dative, where a noun or verb requires the dative to follow. I'm not sure if there are any nouns that require a dative to follow, but definitely verbs for sure. So the pure dative, this could be the dative indirect object. Remember, far and away, the most commonly used function of the dative is the indirect object. You have the direct object, which is the accusative, but then you can have the dative indirect object, where something indirectly receives the action of the verb. Now, it can only be dative indirect when there's a transitive verb. And you would just translate the dative in this case as to or for plus whatever the noun is. Another pure dative is dative of interest, which is either advantage or disadvantage. It's either the interest of advantage or disadvantage. So advantage, you would translate to or for. Disadvantage, you would translate against. So against him, to him, or for him. The key to identification, here's your test, to determine if it's dative of interest is to replace to with for the benefit of, in the interest of, for the detriment of, or against. Okay? Now you can include those tests in your translation if you want. Not required. Okay? But if you feel like it helps with the interpretation, go ahead and include it. But simply, it might just be to, for, or against. Okay? The verb will typically imply some sort of personal interest to help identify that the dative is functioning as a dative of interest. So you have to understand the context. Now, some sort of personal interest is stressed, which differentiates the dative of interest from the dative indirect object. Notice the translation can be identical to or for. The only difference is personal interest is somehow stressed or implied in the verb. That's the only difference. Okay? Again, words derive meaning semantically, which is a fancy way of saying it's not done in a vacuum. So, specific words influence the understanding of the other words in the same phrase or sentence or paragraph. You cannot simply just plug in values that you find in the dictionary and think that you're going to have something intelligible. It doesn't work like that. Also, for pure dative, there's a dative of reference or respect. This, the identification and translation of this is simply to replace to with reference to, concerning, about, in regard to. So the force is limiting or qualifying or contextualizing. Why would they use it? The dative of reference or respect is used to qualify or present as true a statement that would otherwise not be true. So it's used to qualify or present as true something that would otherwise not be true. So be careful on this one. Wallace calls this out. Don't mix this up with dative of sphere. Dative of sphere is local. This is not local. They have opposite meanings, dative of sphere and dative of reference respect. Okay? Reference generally implies separation. And that's different. Whereas sphere is more about being part of the whole, which is the opposite of separation. Okay? So now, local dative, dative of sphere. This dative marks the sphere or realm in which the word related takes place or exists, typically a verb, but not always. How do you identify it? How do you translate it? Well, you replace to with in the sphere of or in the realm of. Just don't mix this up with the dative of reference. Sphere implies inclusion, incorporation, right? It's part of the whole. Whereas reference and respect do not. It implies separation. Then there's the dative of time. That's still local, right? Local to me implies space. Well, that includes time, right? So this dative of time, translated when, marks the time when the action of the main verb is accomplished. The dative noun must bear some notion of time. So it's all about that dative noun, must bearing notion of time. And the force, it's the point in time the verb was accomplished, as opposed to the kind of time, which would be genitive, or the extent of time, which would be accusative. This is the point in time. You translate it when, on, at, or in. When it came about, when the third hour came, or at the third hour, or at night. These are all potential uses of dative of time. Now there's the instrumental dative. This is the dative of association. This marks the person or thing one associated with or accompanies. You identify it and translate it by replacing to with in association with. You might see this a lot in the Gospels or in Acts or in Paul's greetings or closings when he's talking about riding or traveling with his companions. Also an instrumental dative. Dative of means, dative of instrument. This is the use of the dative indicating the means, that's how, or instrument, the tool, by which the verbal action is accomplished. So you replace to with by means of or with. And the force is how. How, what's the method that the action is done? There's no personality in view here. An agent is either stated or implied. That's going to be critical. An agent is either stated or implied for it to be dative of means or instrument. Then there's the dative of cause, still instrumental. This dative indicates that the cause or basis of the action of the verb. This dative indicates the cause or basis of the action of the verb. So you identify and translate it by replacing to with because of or on the basis of. It indicates why. It provides the foundation, the basis of the action. It's often this use being indistinguishable from the dative of means. So sometimes means and cause are indistinguishable. This is similar to like in the subjunctive and the use of ina. Is it purpose or is it result? Sometimes they're indistinguishable. So is that true for dative of cause and dative of means? Sometimes it's indistinguishable. As a result, sometimes it will be better to translate the dative of cause as by to allow the ambiguity between means and cause to exist. And that's okay. Sometimes it's better not to try and clarify everything. But that's part of the interpretive process, and you have to make your decision. Sometimes you translate it one way, sometimes you translate it the other way, sometimes you find a middle ground and leave it ambiguous. Now let's talk about the required dative. We have the dative direct object. Yes, that's right. Sometimes dative is indirect, but other times it is direct. Verbs typically implying personal relation take a dative direct object. So verbs that typically imply personal relation take a dative direct object. Excuse me. Verbs that usually add on to will typically take a dative direct object, like I listened to. Verbs concerning discipleship will often take a dative direct object. Trusting, obeying, serving, worshiping, thanksgiving, following. These are all likely to take a dative direct object. The key here is to look it up in BDAG. Check the verb in the sentence and see if it takes a dative direct object. That's all you got to do. Follow BDAG's lead. Another required dative is a dative after certain prepositions. Again, follow BDAG for appropriate translations of the preposition plus dative case. And that's it. So we're going to spend the rest of our time now going through 1 John 3. So get your text ready, get your pen and paper, and we're going to dive in. Nope, don't need those. Thank you. All right. So last week, it took us nearly 4 hours to get through 1 John chapter 2, including our lecture summary. It was a lot of work. I hope you found it worth it. And we are going to plow into 1 John 3. Let's see, 1 John 3 has how many verses? It has 5 less verses. Hopefully it won't take us 4 hours, but we're going to get started. Okay. 1 John 3. Hopefully you've got good pen and paper. I'm still using my Pilot Metropolitan Tiger White, I think is what this is called, in fine nib fountain pen. And I'm using, I think it's Diamante Oxblood, which is a red ink. It makes it look like I'm constantly bleeding because I get the ink on my fingertips and then it plays mental mind games on my family. But I'm okay, I'm not cut. So 1 John chapter 3, let's go. Verse 1. Okay, idate potapin, agapin, deroken, imino patir, ina tekna theou, klithomen, keesmen, diatuto o kosmos, u ginoski imas, oti uk egno avton. So this means, see, this is orao, but this is the imperative. So see, or look. See, potapine, what is that? Potapos, it's a pronoun, interrogative pronoun, feminine singular accusative. So you see what you, I'm going to put you in parentheses, you see what love Vidokin. Singular perfect active indicative. So Interesting. This one, it's accusative, but it's interrogative. This seems like it takes an accusative following here. This is kind of like os, relative pronoun. How glorious. Sometimes the context calls for the sense how great, how wonderful, how glorious. Okay. See. You see how glorious the love our Father. No. The Father has given to us. Okay. See how glorious I know there's no article here, but I'm going to put the love. See how glorious the love the Father has given to us. I want to point out, dedoken here is indicative, but it's not the main verb here. Normally an indicative would be, but it's part of this here, potapin. So much like os, this is a pronoun, but instead of it being a relative pronoun, it's an interrogative pronoun. And this is governing the rest of this clause. So the subject is you, the verb is idate, it's a command. It's saying, look at the love. What kind of love? The glorious love the Father gave to us, has given to us. Okay? Comma. Ina, in order that we might be called children of God. Here's a genitive. Theou, tekna theou. Okay. In order that we might be called children of God. So, is it possessive genitive? Genitive of relationship? The substantive in the genitive indicates a familial relationship, hence tekna. Typically the progenitor of the person named by the head noun. This category is relatively rare. Okay, I don't think this will be correct, but the sons of Zebedee. Maybe that is it. Or the possessive, belonging to, children belonging to God. No. children possessed by God. No. The substantive in the genitive possesses the thing to which it stands related. God possesses the children. No. Children belonging to God, maybe. No, I think this is genitive of relationship. Genitive of relationship. Because it bears familial children. And the substantive in the genitive is a familial relationship, typically the progenitor of the person named by the head noun. So progenitor is God. Feel free to disagree with me on that one. But I think this is appropriate, and it's not literal, it's figurative. It's a metaphor to be called children of God. And we are. In order that we might be called children of God, and we are. So this is joining with here. Not up here. It's joining here. You know that because this is first person plural and this is first person plural. Period. Dia tuto. For this reason, the world not know us. Gnoski. Third person singular, present active, indicative. Okay. World does not know us. Okay. And we are. For this reason, the world does not know us. Comma. Oti uk egno avton. That it did not know him. I'm going to say because it did not know him, period. So the reason the world did not know us is because it did not know him. Okay. Verse 2. Agapiti, nin tekna theu esmen. Ke upo ephanerothi tiesometa. Ida menoti ean phanerothi. Imii avto esometha. Otiopsometha avton kathos estin. Beloved, now we are children of God. Now we are children of God. There's that familial relationship again. And not yet. and not yet revealed what we are. Ephane rothi, third singular aorist passive indicative. Beloved, now we are children of God, but it is not yet revealed what we will be. Period. This is first person plural future. Third person singular aorist passive. It is not yet revealed. So not yet being upo. It is not yet revealed what we will be. We know that. This might be if, it might be when. Let's see. If third singular aorist passive indicative. If he is revealed, we will be like him. So I think this is probably going to be more along the lines of when. I think the NRSV is right. As conjunction marker of condition. See, that's that's subjunctive. Future indicative. As conjunction marker of the prospect of an action in a point of time coordinated with another point of time. Thus, at times, the meaning of aeon approaches closely that of otan, whenever or when, which happened in 1 John 2:28. And in the Variolectione, it had otan. But this is subjunctive, aorist passive. You know what? Let's go back. Let's see. Okay. This is future more probable, right? Because we got future here. Let's make sure the syntax holds true. Broad semantic range. I want to see the appendix here. I thought there was a... Maybe I put it together. I don't know. Oh, maybe I did. There we go. This is what I needed right here. Third class condition Aeon plus subjunctive, mood, any tense. That's what we have. Any mood, any tense. Okay, wait, that's not what I needed. I want to see future more probable. Okay. Okay, it's not first class condition. What is likely to occur in the future, what could possibly occur, or even only hypothetical and will not occur. Let's see. So is it when or is it if? We know that if he is revealed, we will be like him. If he is revealed. Okay, so I think in this case it's when. Rather than if. Present subjunctive and present in apodosis. That's not this case. Mostly with aorist subjunctive and present in apodosis. That's not this case. Present and aorist subjunctive at the same time. Indicative with future indicative in the same meaning. present indicative, aorist indicative, other particles. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Marker of the prospect of an action in a point of time coordinated with another point of time. Yeah, I think that's going to be the best translation here, is when he will be, or when he is revealed. Okay, we know that when he is revealed, comma, then we will be like him. This is nominative because this is imi. Imi takes a nominative, predicate nominative. We will be like him. So this is nominative. This is dative. Okay? I think imi is going to take a dative direct object. Let's see. With dative of person or thing compared. Which is what we got here. Okay, so this is a required dative because of imi, or emios rather. We will be like him, being required dative. Okay, because then we will be like him because we will see him just as he is. Okay. Verse 3. Kepas o echon tin elpida taftin ep avto agnizi e avton kathos ekinos agnosestin. Okay, and everyone who has this hope in him is purified, or purifies themselves. So everyone The NRSV translates this as plural, and all, but it's singular. Each one who has this hope. Purifies himself. Just as he is pure. Agnos, holy. Or agos. Agnos? This is different from agia, holy, just as he or that one is pure. I'm going to use pure instead of holy because it matches here. Agnizo, of persons of Christ. An attribute of the divinity and everything belonging to it. Stand in awe of. Transfers to a moral sense. Okay. Just as he is pure. And each one who has this hope in him purifies himself caused to be morally pure. Okay. Verse 4. Paso pion tin amartian ketin anomian pi. Ke I amartia estin I anomia. Each one who does sin and also does lawlessness. Interesting. Everyone who commits sin is guilty of lawlessness. That's not what this says. Manufacture, produce. To carry out an obligation of a moral or social sense, do, commit, be guilty of. Okay, so is also guilty. Third singular, present active indicative, present active participle. So each one who is guilty of sin? No, that doesn't make sense. Each one who commits sin also commits lawlessness. Each one who commits sin also commits lawlessness. Anomia, anomos, being the prefix for no, nomos being law, lawless. It's opposite dikaiosune, righteousness. Okay. And sin is lawlessness. Verse 5. Ke idate oti ekinos aphenerothi inatas amartias ari, ke amartia en afto uk estin. And you know that that one, or he, third singular aorist passive indicative, was revealed. And you know that he, or that one, was revealed. In order to take sin seize control without relinquishing. Okay, so, and you know that he was revealed in order that he might take, I'm just going to say remove sin. Tas amartias. It's plural, so I am going to translate it sins, in order that he might remove sins. And sin is not in him. So we have sin is not in him. Here we have a required dative. Dative following a preposition and requires dative. So required dative after preposition. Okay, let's go to verse 6. Moving right along. Paso en afto menon uk amartani. Pos o amartanon uk eoraken afton ude egnoken afton. Each one who remains in him does not sin. I'll put each one who remains in him does not sin. Amartani, third singular present active indicative. Semicolon. Each one who sins present active participle. Present active participle. I think continuously needs to be included here. Continuously. Be wrong on that, but I'll check. Does not see him nor known him. Okay. Has neither seen him nor known him. Has neither seen him nor known him. I want to look up participles here. I might be making a mistake. I want to make sure I'm not. It's definitely substantival. Whoops. This is the independent use of the adjectival participle, not related to a noun. It functions in the place of a substantive. As such, it can function in virtually any capacity that a noun can, such as subject, direct object, indirect object, apposition, etc. It must either be adjectival proper or substantival. Second, if it is articular and not related in dependent fashion to any substantive in the sentence, then it is substantival. The translation is often the one who or the thing which, with the participle then translated as a finite verb. The one who does. But it's present, so continuous, I think. Okay. Take a quick break. I'll be right back. I'm back. So in the translation, the aspect is still there, but because it's substantival, it's not as prominent. But that is what we're dealing with here. So present active indicative, but this is present active participle. So this is a continuous participle. It is adverbial, but it is also adjectival. So it bears the continuous aspect. It's a continuous participle, but functioning adjectivally. Same thing with this, amartanon. So these are continuous. So each one who continuously remains in him does not sin. Each one who continuously sins has neither seen him nor known him. But you don't have to include the word continuously. Okay, verse 7. Teknia midis planato imas. Opion tin dikeosinin dikeos estin. Kathos ekinos dikeos estin. Children. Midis, no one planato. Third singular present active imperative. Masculine singular nominative. Third singular. Children, let no one deceive you. Semicolon. Be one who practices righteousness is dikaios. Oh, there we go. Is upright, just, fair, is righteous. One who practices righteousness is righteous. Just as he, that one, is righteous. Semicolon. Verse 8. One opion tin amartian ectu diabolu estin. Oti ap archis o diabolos amartani. Is tuto ephanerothi ovios tu theou. In alisi ta erga tu diabolu. So, the one who commits sin, I'll put continuously in there, is from the devil. So ek being genitive, so this is required genitive, following preposition. Diabolos, slanderer. one who engages in slander, slanderer. Accuser. Already current in the LXX, the Septuagint, as a translation of Hasatan. Okay, comma. 4, I think that's an explanatory OT. 4, the devil third singular present active indicative. For the devil sins from beginning. For the devil sins from the beginning. So another required genitive following preposition from the beginning. Interesting. This is present. But then RSV translate it past tense. Why is that? Let's see. I think this is gnomic. No, that would be aorist. Could be distributive, repetitive. Regularly occurs, ongoing state. Action is usually iterative or repeated, not without interruption. Customary present is an iterative present with the temporal ends kicked out. Oh, look at that. So, older commentators take this to be customary, but we take it as gnomic, a gnomic present. Okay. So I was right. It wasn't aorist, it was gnomic present. The present tense may be used to make a statement of a general timeless fact. It does not say that something is happening, but that something does happen. The action or state continues without time limits. The verb is used in proverbial statements or general maxims about what occurs at all times. The gnomic present is distinct from the customary present in that the customary present refers to a regularly recurring action, while the gnomic present refers to a general timeless fact. Okay. The first includes instances that depict deity or nature as the subject of the action. Okay. Second use is that of the present in general, or generic statements to describe something that is true anytime. A gnomic verb typically takes a generic subject or object. Translate the verb as does rather than is doing. For the devil does sin from the beginning. Everyone who remains in him does not sin. Everyone who sins has not seen him nor has known him. Everyone who has been born of God does not sin because his seed remains in him. The immediate context seems to be speaking in terms of a projected eschatological reality. The eschatological present. But it doesn't answer this. Not source. Not distance. Not cause means outcome. It's yeah, okay, so it's this one. Okay. For the devil. I'm just going to put for the devil sins from the beginning. Okay. In this, the Son of God is revealed. And I'm going to put in this, comma, the Son of God is revealed. In order that he might destroy the works of the devil. I think that this ina doesn't need to be in order that. This might just be the simple that. In this, the Son of God is revealed. No. Yeah, see, like this one here. This use involves a conjunction introducing a clause that completes the idea of a noun or adjective. This use involves a conjunction that introduces a subject, predicate, nominative, direct object, or an appositional noun clause. Direct and indirect discourse or specialized object clauses follow verbs of expression or perception. To be revealed sounds like perception to me. If introducing direct discourse, which it's not. It is subjunctive. Let's check subjunctive real quick. Not conditional sentence. Could be purpose. Could be result. Purpose, result. Substantival. As with OT plus the indicative ina plus the subjunctive can be used substantively. There are four basic uses: subject, predicate, nominative, direct object, and apposition. This is what I was just looking at. As with substantival OT clauses, the ina clause will be bracketed so as to highlight its substantival force. None is especially frequent. Yeah, this doesn't quite mesh. Istuto. Okay, so in this, we're going to translate for this purpose. For this reason, the Son of God was revealed. In order that so we got two purpose clauses, is tuto and ina, in order that he might destroy the works of the devil. Verse 9. Paso gegenimenos, ectu theou amartion upe, otisperma avtu en avto meni, keu dinate amartanin, oti ectu theou gegenite. So each one who has been born from God does not commit sin. Because his seed, this is possessive genitive, his seed does not commit sin because his seed remains in him. And this is the required dative following preposition. And is not able to sin. Who's calling me? No one that I know. Goodbye. Because his seed remains in him, does not commit sin, and is not able to sin. So, and is not able to sin because he has been born from God. He has been born from God. Verse 10. En tuto phanera estin ta tekna tu theou, ke ta tekna tu diabolou. Pas o mi pion, dikosinin uk estin ek tu theou. Ke o mi agapon ton adelphon aftu. So, in this, so in this, it's by this. So by this, the children of God. There's that familial. What did I call it earlier? What was it? Genitive of relationship. So by this, the children of God and the children of the devil are revealed. It's a predicate adjective. Genitive of relation are revealed. Semicolon. But I think in this case it's probably more a colon. So I'm actually going to cross that out. We're going to do a colon. So each one who does not continuously perform righteousness is not from God, and each one who does not continuously love his brother. Period. So the test is performing righteousness and loving his brother. In this case, though, I think K, which is joining the two together, it's not going to be and. I think it's contrasting. It's not adverbial. It's not explanatory. Not a parenthesis. Not a question. Not surprising. Not a result. Not introducing an apodosis. No time. Mm. It's not joining single words. It's got to be clauses and sentences. Another common feature is the practice drawn from Hebrew or from the speech of everyday life of using K as a connective, where more discriminating usage would call for other particles. Let's see. Aha, okay. Contrast. But rather, yet, though, however. That's not quite right either. It's not correlative. Disjunctive, though. It's not inferential, not transitional. It's not adverbial. I think what's happening here is this phrase here, paso mi pion dikiosynin uk estin ek tu theu. So you've got, who are the children of God? These are not the children of God. Who are the children of the devil? These are not the children of the devil. So I think what it's doing is, yes, it's all in one sentence. So it's taking o mi pion dikiosynin and o mi agapon tun adelphon together. So it's joining in that sense, but it's answering these two clauses. It's a parallel. So because of the parallel, each one who does not continuously perform righteousness is not from God, and each one who does not continuously love his brother, I'm going to put in parentheses, is not from the devil. Period. Okay? 1 John 3:11. Oti avti estin evangelia in ikusate ap archis ina agapomen alilus. Dry, baby, dry. Verse 11. Okay. For this is the message which you heard from the beginning. That we might love one another. Comma. Verse 12. Not like Cain. Not like Cain. In here. See the difference? This is the relative pronoun with a rough breather. This is a smooth breather. This is the verb me. This is the imperfect of me. Not as Cain. He was not like Cain. He was from the devil. This is just a conjunction, so it's not. This is not genitive or anything like that. It's a conjunction. So take the conjunction out of it. Cain was from the evil one. And slayed, murdered his brother. So Cain was from the evil one and slayed, I'll put murdered, murder someone, and murdered his brother. So not as Cain, from evil he was, not as Cain. Interesting. Let's look this up. Of cause, sense, degree, no, this is really a comparison. That was one long voicemail, whoever they sent me. Crap. See this real quick. No, it's only 33 seconds. Never mind. Frequently, the demonstrative is omitted. As it is written. We want to love one another not as Cain, not as Cain. He was from the evil one and murdered his brother. Not like Cain, but is nominative. Why is it nominative? Well, it's probably indeclinable. Yep, indeclinable. So, not like Cain. Yeah, I'm going to do not like Cain. He was from the evil one and murdered his brother. Semicolon. And Charintinos esfaxen avton. Now we've got a question. Okay. For the sake of, on behalf of, on account of, indicating the reason. So, and for what reason Tinos? And for what reason Karin, for the sake of, but I think in this context, why? Tinos, why did he kill? Question mark. The answer, because his works were evil. His works were evil. But his brothers righteous. Okay. Ke mi thavmatsate adelphi, imisi imas o kosmos. So verse 13. K is in brackets. This means it's hotly disputed as to whether it's original to the text. We'll get to textual criticism in chapter 5 in the final week. But we'll go ahead and include it here. So K and not thavmatsate. Second person plural, present active imperative, to marvel, wonder, admire. With OT following, wonder, be surprised at. It's a command. Do not be surprised, brothers. And do not be surprised, brothers. If the world hates you. Period. Imis idamen oti metabebikamen ektu thanatu istin zoin oti agapomen tu sadelphus. Omi agapon meni ento thanato. We know verse 14. We know that. So, idamen is first person plural perfect active indicative, but it's ida. So we're translating it present. We know that first person plural perfect active indicative from metabino or metabeno. We have passed. In this case, yeah. We have passed or moved from death into life. We know that we have passed from death into life. Because we love the brothers. because we love the brothers. O me agapon. Many. One who does not love remains in death. I know that me here is attaching to agapon and not many because many is an indicative. So if it were modifying this, it would be oo. It's not mu, it's me. So it's got to go to this. So the one who does not continuously love remains in death. Verse 15. Pas o mison, ton adelphon of two, anthropoktonos, estin, ke idate otipas anthropoktonos, uk echit zoin eonon enavto menusan. Each one who hates, so each one who continuously hates his brother is, I don't know what this is, anthropoktonos, a murderer. So it combines anthropos and tino, kill. One who hates his brother, okay. Is a murderer. And you know that each murderer does not have eternal life present active participle feminine singular accusative does not have eternal life continuously remaining in him. Each one who continuously hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that each murderer does not have eternal life continuously remaining in him. So this calls into question the use of continuously here, because continuously remain, present active participle feminine singular accusative. To have eternal life remaining in him. Intransitive, a person or thing. Intransitive. Transitive. That's not what we're dealing with here. That's an interesting idea, though. Wait. That every murderer does not have eternal life waiting for him. It's an interesting idea. This might be more accurate, actually. And yet here we go. Look at that. Have something continually, permanently. Okay. Verse 16. Be running low on ink here. Maybe it's just drying out because I keep holding it open. En tuto egnokamen tin agapin. Oti akinos hyper imon tin psychin of tu ethiken. Ke emis ophilomen hyperton adelphon tas psychas thine. So by this, we have known love. By this, we have known love. That one, that he or that one, that he, tithimi, laid down his life for us. That he laid down his life for us. By this we have known love, that he laid down his life for us. After expressions of suffering, dying, devoting oneself, a marker indicating that an activity or event is in some entity's interest, for, in behalf of, for the sake of. For us. For our sake. That's a genitive. Okay. And this we have known, love. And we are under obligation to meet certain social or moral expectations, and we owe we owe where'd it go? Plural, present, active, indicative. To be obligated with infinitive following, one must, one ought. And we ought to, and this is also tithemi. And we ought to lay down tas psichas. I think this is our lives, even though this is not the possessive, but yeah. Our lives for the sake of the brothers. For our brothers. Verse 17. Os dian echi ton bion tu kosmu ke theori ton adelphon av tu krian echon ta ke klisi tas blankna av tu ap av tu. Pos I agapi tu theu meni en av tu, or en av to. Okay, so, but whomever might have the goods of the world and sees his brother having a need, but whomever has the means of subsistence, resources needed to maintain life. But whomever has the resources for maintaining life. but whoever has the resources for maintaining life. The resources of the world. Interesting, because earlier, what was it, in chapter 2, you can't have anything in the world or love anything in the world. That's not a marker of the Christian. And yet here we see the resources of the world. That constitutes anything in the world, right? So there's a difference between loving and having. But it's what you do with it. The resources of the world, and whoever has and sees third singular present active subjunctive. Again, continuously. Continuously also is built into has. Whomever has continuously has the resources of the world and sees continuously his brother having a need. Kriya, that which is lacking and needed. Lacking. But closes his heart from him. Closes one's heart against someone. Whomever has the resources and sees his brother having a need, but closes his heart against him, comma. How does the love of God remain in him? How does the love of God remain in him? Question. Love of God here is not possessive, I don't think. I think that's more like source. How does the love that comes from God? Let's see. It's not departure. That's not it. Source. The genitive substantive is the source from which the head noun derives or depends. Love that comes, so yeah, source. Love that comes from God remains in him. Teknia. Mi agapomen logo mide, ti glossi alla en ergo ke alithia. Verse 18. Children. So this must be subjunctive because of the presence of me. Agapomen, we might love. We do not. Okay, so this is subjunctive, but it's functioning as a command. So this is the hortatory subjunctive. Do not love in word, nor in tongue, but in deed and truth. Yeah, this is third person or first person, so it's not hortatory. Well, it is hortatory, but let us not love in word nor in tongue, but let us love in deed and in truth. Okay. Verse 19. Coming along. Again, K is bracketed due to the hot attestation of witnesses. It's believed that this is probably not original. K en tuto gnosometha oti ectis alithias esmen. K en prosthen avtu pisomentin cardian imon. And by this gnosometha, we know, or we will know, future. By this, we will know. What will we know? We'll know that we are from the truth. We are from the truth. And emprosthen, before him, pisomen. This is from pitho, to persuade. And we will persuade our hearts before him. Set at ease. And we will set our heart at ease before him. Verse 20. Oti eon kata ginoski imon e cardia. Oti mitson estin o theos tis cardias. Imon ke ginoski panta. That if our heart, the heart of us, if our heart might condemn us, that if our heart might condemn us. Wait a second. That if okay, so kataginoski is third singular. The subject is e cardia. So that if our heart condemns, This is not a third-class condition. Aeon in the apodosis, or in the protasis, and then something else in the apodosis. Because of OT there. So I do think this is right. That when our heart, we don't need might, when our heart condemns. That when our heart condemns, then oti mitzon estin otheos is cardias. God is greater than our hearts. God is greater than our heart, and he knows all things. Agapiti ean e cardia imon mi kataginoski parisian echomen pros ton theon. Verse 21. Beloved, if our heart does not condemn us, if our heart does not condemn us, but again, this bears continuously. We have confidence. Before. This is the accusative. We have confidence with the Father. Oh no, with God. Verse 22. Ko eon etomen lambanomen apaftu. Otitas entolas avtu. Tiramen keta aresta enopion avtu pumen. And whatever This one's interesting. I don't think this aeon. Maybe it is. After relatives. That's what we're dealing with here. You would think that it would be listed here if this was the case. With abbreviation. Neuter is used in explanations. There we go. With on or aeon, see on. Okay. That's different. On with aorist or imperfect indicative. On with subjunctive after relatives, the relative clause forming virtually the protasis of a conditional sentence of the future, more vivid, or present general type. With present in the apodosis to show that the condition and its results involve repeated action regardless of the time element. Okay, so this is the force that we're going to deal with here. With the subjunctive after relatives, the relative clause forming virtually the protasis of a conditional sentence. Okay, so relative clause is protasis. Okay, so and whatever we continuously ask. We receive. So this is present general. Show that the condition and its results involve repeated action regardless of the time element. Present general. Repeated action regardless time. We receive. From him. Another required genitive following op the preposition. Oti tas entolas of tu tirumen, because we continuously keep his commandments. And we are doing pleasing things before him. We continuously do pleasing things before him. Okay. Whereof two is another required genitive. Verse 23. 2 verses away and we're done. Woo! Keafti estin I entoliav tu, ina pestev somen to onomati tu wiu av tu Jesu Christu ke agapomen alilus. Katos edoken entolin imin. And this is his commandment. That pistev somen, that we might believe. That we might believe. This is not continuous. It's just believe. There's no continuous aspect to it. Believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ. Okay, so that we might believe in, this is required dative probably. To consider, to believe in something. So this is required dative. Required dative. In the name of his Son. So of his Son, this is possessive genitive. Then you got Jesus Christ is simple apposition, I think. Genitive, simple apposition. Maybe the whole thing is in apposition. Christ being in simple apposition to Jesus. Maybe, I'm not sure. But it's all in apposition, renaming Son. Jesus Christ. And we might love, this is continuous though, and we might continuously love one another, just as he gave okay. Think so. The NRSV takes edoken entolin to be he commanded us. Give, donate, bestow, grant, give, produce, entrust, pay, give, place, deposit, appoint, sacrifice, venture, draw, grant, allow, institute of humans, of a plan conceived in a meeting, give, counsel, or advice. Command, entolin. Okay. So yeah, here it's a combination. Give counsel, give advice, give command. So just as he commanded us. You mean being dative to give to. And last, verse 24. Okay. Ko tiron tas entolas avtu en avto, many ke avtos en avto. Ken tuto genoskomen o timeni en imin. Ektu pneumatos u imin edoken. And one who continuously keeps his commandment remains in him. And he in him. Parentheses, I'm going to put Jesus. Jesus remains in him. Semicolon. I'm going to circle the last him. I'm going to circle the one who. And I'm going to tie those two together with a line. The one who continuously keeps his commandment remains in him. I'm going to underline this him, and I'm going to underline he, parenthesis, Jesus. I'm going to connect those two with a line as well, so we can keep track of who is who. And by this, gnoskomen, gnosko, we know. By this, we know that he remains in us. He here being Jesus. He remains in us. That, or no that. Protestants are heretics. Catholics are the only Christians. The ideology of every non-Catholic has no link with tradition. 2 Thessalonians 2:14, and thus is false, and the machinations of the devil. Well, thank you, Martin Francis. Appreciate your comment. That's not what we're talking about. So if you could stay on topic, I'd appreciate it. K and tuto gnoskomen otimeni en imin. And by this, we know that he remains in us. Okay, ektu pneumatos. So that from the Spirit whom he gave to us. Okay. What is by the Spirit? Ektu pneumatos. What is that related to? By this we know that he remains in us. This is dative, this is genitive, this is genitive singular. By this, we know he remains in us. Ektu pneumatos. What is this prepositional phrase modifying? Is it adverbial? Modifying this? Okay. And by this, we know by the Spirit whom he gave to us. I think it is. Maybe it's not. We know that he remains in us. Yeah. It's not gnoskomen, it's many. So, and by this we know that he remains in us from or by, that he remains in us from the Spirit. Put a capital S on that. I don't think this is whom, or that, from the Spirit whom. I guess it would be that because it's neuter. That he gave to us. This is a dative, plural. Let's look that up real quick to close this out. Dative of recipient. Dative substantive. Is that in reference to which something is presented as true? An author will use this dative to qualify. No, that's with respect. I want this one. This is a dative that would ordinarily be an indirect object, except that it appears in verbless constructions, such as in titles and salutations. Well, that's not what we have here. So that can't be it. Destination? No, that's not quite right. There is typically a transfer of something from one place to another. No, that's not quite it. Not possession. Maybe it's just indirect. The noun or pronoun in the dative is the person or thing to which is given the direct object. Yeah. Okay, so it's just indirect object. Indirect object. But in this case, we don't have a direct object, we have a genitive direct object in this prepositional phrase, ek tu pneumatos. And then all of this is brought forward with the genitive ou here as the direct object. Okay. He gave the Spirit to us. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. We have finished chapter 3's translation. Let's read it back. Exciting, exciting. Oh, okay. Verse 1. You see how glorious the love the Father has given to us, in order that we might be called children of God. For this reason, and we are, and for this reason the world does not know us, because it did not know him. Beloved, now we are children of God, but it is not yet revealed what we will be. We know that when he is revealed, then we will be like him, because we will see him just as he is. And each one who has this hope in him purifies himself just as he is pure. Each one who commits sin also commits lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. And you know that he was revealed in order that he might remove sins, and sin is not in him. Each one who continuously remains in him does not sin. Each one who continuously sins has neither seen him nor known him. Children, let no one deceive you. The one who practices righteousness is righteousness, just as he is righteous. The one who continuously commits sin is from the devil, for the devil sins from the beginning. For this reason, the Son of God was revealed, in order that we might destroy the works of the devil. In order that he might destroy the works of the devil. Each one who has been born from God does not commit sin, because his seed remains in him, and is not able to sin, because he has been born from God. By this, the children of God and the children of the devil are revealed. Each one who does not continuously perform righteousness is not from God. And each one who does not continuously love his brother, well, he is not from the devil. Actually, is from the devil. is from the devil. Okay? Verse 11, for this is the message which you heard from the beginning, that we might love one another. Not like Cain, he was from the evil one and murdered his brother. And for what reason did he kill him? Because his works were evil, but his brothers were righteous. And do not be surprised, brothers, if the world hates you. We know that we have passed from death into life because we love the brothers. The one who does not continuously love remains in death. Each one who continuously hates his brother is a murderer, and you know that each murderer does not have eternal life continuously remaining in him. By this we have known love, that he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers. But whomever has the resources of the world and sees his brother having a need, but closes his heart against him, how does the love of God remain in him? Children, let us not love in word nor in tongue, but in deed and in truth. By this we will know that we are from the truth, and we will set our heart at ease before him, that when our heart condemns, God is greater than our heart, and he knows all things. Beloved, if our heart does not condemn us, we have confidence with God, and whatever we continuously ask, then we receive from him, because we continuously keep his commandments, and we continuously do pleasing things before him. And this is his commandment, that we might believe in the name of his Son, Jesus Christ, and we might continuously love one another, just as he commanded us. And the one who continuously keeps his commandment remains in him, and he, Jesus, remains in him. And by this we know that he remains in us, from the Spirit that he gave to us. Cool. So that is 1 John chapter 3. Next week we will do 1 John chapter 4. And I forget what we'll cover next week. Let's see. I always forget, so I got to look it up. yakubu.wordpress.com. Beginning biblical Greek lecture. Chapter 4, indicative, pronouns, declension. There it is. Okay. Infinitives and participles next week, and then the week after that we'll do textual criticism. So cool. Infinitives and participles will be next week. That'll be fun. And then we will have textual criticism, the science of reading through various textual witnesses and determining what was the original text. That'll be the final week. That'll be fun, and we'll translate 1 John 5. So next week, plan on another lengthy one. If I remember correctly, 1 John 4 is kind of long. Could be wrong. Yeah, it's 21 verses. Chapter 5. Is 21 verses as well. So, yeah, it'll probably be another 3-hour stream next time as well. We'll see. But thanks for joining today. If you haven't already, click subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you know when I go live. For vocabulary, daily vocabulary, I forgot to do one yesterday. I was busy with work and everything. I don't think I got around to doing one. I don't even remember. Actually, let me check. Let's see. Did I get one in yesterday? Videos. Oh yeah, I sure did. I don't remember doing it, but apparently I did it. There you go. So we'll get one in today as well. And we're at around 180 words, so we're coming up on the final third, which is cool. But that's still going to be a long time coming. It's basically a year-long project. Set your calendars for January. We will have Hebrew come January 2020. Follow a similar format, although I'll slightly change it to incorporate weekly vocabulary within the live lecture so as not to do more daily routine, because it's just really hard to manage. I'll go ahead and finish the daily routine for the Greek vocabulary, but when it comes to Hebrew, we will cover that together. So, cool. If you're watching live, great. Thanks for joining. If you're not and you're watching on the archive, that's cool too. I hope you found this helpful. And I hope you're enjoying the translation process of 1 John and finding it fruitful, meaningful, and fun. All right? That's kind of the point, right? That's why we're translating. So with that, I'll see you next week. Goodbye. Good luck. Take care. Bye-bye.